What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for MLB playoffs Monday, October 12th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, MLB playoffs. Let's take a look at this 2-game main slate. So at the pitcher position, you could go with Walker Buehler, but I'm going to save some salary here. And I'm going to go with Charlie Morton with a small pitching advantage here over the Houston Astros. Charlie Morton, he's pitching his best ball versus righty batters, giving up a .659 OPS versus righties. And he's facing 6 righties here tonight. On top of that, the Astros, well, they've hit 22 of the last 70 pitches, so they are batting a .314 batting average, but the splits are good here for Charlie Morton, and he's $8,000 FanDuel salary and $900 less on DraftKings. So you're going to save some salary for your batters. He's got an ERA of 4.74. He's 2-2 on the season, pitching an average of 73 pitches per game, averaging 21 fantasy points per game. But he scored 36, 30, and 36 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He's projected at 31.3 fantasy points here tonight. And he's kind of hit or missed here versus the Houston Astros. He scored 45, 6, and 39 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So hopefully he can get you 30 plus fantasy points here tonight. So I like Charlie Morton here versus the Houston Astros. Okay, let's take a look at the first base position. I like Max Muncy with a small batting advantage here versus Max Fried. Max Muncy bats 8% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a .850 OPS versus lefties. And Max Fried is giving up a .676 OPS versus lefties. Muncy is 2 for 3 with a 2.417 OPS versus Fried. One of those 2 hits is for a home run. He's $3,500 FanDuel salary and $1,100 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 13, 12, and 6 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Max Muncy here versus Max Fried. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Brandon Lowe batting against Lance McCullers Jr. Brandon Lowe is batting a .865 OPS versus righties. And Lance McCullers Jr., he does pitch his best ball versus lefties, giving up a .623 OPS versus lefties. But Brandon Lowe is $3,500 FanDuel salary, $800 more on DraftKings, averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 3, 3, and 7 fantasy points in the last 3 games, projected at 15.3 fantasy points here tonight. He's got the best batting average out of all of these second basemen on the slate. So although the splits are not fantastic here, I think he makes sense. I think he's my favorite second baseman here. So I like Brandon Lowe here versus Lance McCullers Jr. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. Now, we have some extra salary because we didn't pay all the way up for Walker Buehler. We saved some salary at the pitcher position, so we can spend a little bit more here on our other positions. So I like Justin Turner with a small batting advantage over Max Fried. Justin Turner is batting a .835 OPS versus lefties, and Max Fried pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a .721 OPS versus righties. Justin Turner is 3 for 4, batting a .750 and a 2.250 OPS versus Fried. One of those 3 hits is for a home run. He's $3,100 FanDuel salary and $1,300 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 4, 19, and 0 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He's one of my favorite picks here on this slate, so I like Justin Turner here versus Max Fried. Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. I like Dansby Swanson with a 20% batting advantage over Walker Buehler. Dansby Swanson bats 18% better versus righty pitchers. He's batting a .802 OPS versus righties. And Walker Buehler, he pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a .655 OPS versus righties. Swanson is 1 for 5 versus Buehler, batting 200, and he's $3,500 FanDuel salary and $700 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season, and he's been on fire, scoring 25, 19, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Dansby Swanson here versus Walker Buehler. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. So you can see I like this stack of Dodgers here versus Max Fried. So I like AJ Pollock with a 34% batting advantage over Max Fried. AJ Pollock is batting 28% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a 1.045 OPS versus lefties. And Max Fried, he pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a .721 OPS versus righties. AJ Pollock is 1 for 2 with a 1.167 OPS versus Fried. He's $2,900 FanDuel salary and $1,000 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 6, 0, and 13 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like AJ Pollock and this Dodgers stack here versus Max Fried. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.